And actually, I think today we're going to, let's find our way to child's pose to start. That sounds like a good way to start a rainy morning. All right, so a nice wide stance with the knees. So big toes touch, wide stance with the knees, and then go ahead and sit back into your child's pose. You can, if you're having a little bit of trouble through the back, you can just stack your forearms and let your head kind of fall down onto your wrists. This takes a little bit of the extra strain out. And we're going to stay here for a little bit. So go ahead and find a shape that feels quote unquote comfortable. And start to work into your breath as you turn into your body. So notice the thoughts that you have this morning. Notice the feelings that you have for your day. Taking a moment to just tune into your day, your body, how it's showing up here. Now starting to link your breath, creating a nice big inhale through the nose. And then as you exhale, let go of anything that you do not need. Nice big inhale. And keep exhaling until you get rid of all of the things that you do not need. Of course, we could be here all day, so just get rid of a few of them. The biggest things. We're going to move through a very traditional yin class today. So long held, deep stretches. Last breath here in this shape. And let's go ahead and start to walk the hands forward. Take a nice big stretch here. Reach the fingertips out nice and long. Let the forehead come to the mat. Create that separation between the shoulder blades, that protraction. And then as you come to an inhale, lift your head, look at your fingers, and start to rock forward. You can slide your knees underneath your hips if they weren't already, and then just push your shoulders past your wrists. So you might have a little bit of a slant from hips to knees here. And then back into kind of that tabletop. Push away from the hands, round the back. Inhale, come forward. Maybe let the hips start to drop down. And then pushing back and forth here. Just working through the back articulation here. Getting a little workout in the wrists. And speaking of gardens, those of us that don't have deer have to actually go out there and pull our gardens eventually. That's a lot of work for the hands and shoulders and forearms. Let's go ahead and find that neutral with the spine. Knees are underneath the hips now. Walk your left hand underneath your nose. Bring your right arm out from the shoulder. So the palm is down. You're just reaching straight out here. Turn the thumb so that it's up and push the arm forward. Spin the thumb down and pull that arm back. So just a gentle one-armed swim here. Getting a little bit of motion through the shoulders. I already have some snap, crackle, pops. And back. And then the last one, come all the way forward. Turn that palm, press back, comes back to that halfway here, so right out from the shoulders, and then lift that shoulder or that arm up. So you're leading with the shoulder, not with the hand. And then we're going to scoop this right arm underneath and come on down for the landing here. It's a twist and it's a shoulder stretch. So you control how much weight you put on this shoulder. You can rock yourself back a little bit or forward, and then maybe bringing the left arm out overhead. So for most of us, this is probably enough. It's early. But if you really want a little bit more, you can take that top arm, scoop it around, and grab on to the outside of that right thigh. So we're just going to tune into each shape, take it for what it is. Notice any area that might be showing up for you. Maybe something's giving you a little challenge. Of course, sometimes it's the sitting still that gives you the challenge. Other times that feels just about right. Just about 3 more rounds of breath here. About 30 seconds, 10 seconds per round. Start to walk your left hand back underneath the shoulder. We're just going to press into the mat and scoop that right arm up and open. Open up that shoulder again. Notice that it might feel a little differently now. And then place that right hand down underneath the shoulder. Let's take a few of those rocks back and forth here. Recalibrating, resetting. Starting to open up the wrists. You're gripping into the fingers. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but from 8 until 10 every morning is puppy playtime. And so he is stuck inside because of the rain. It's like living with a toddler. All right, let's bring that right arm right underneath your face. Sweep the left arm out. So notice when you sweep that arm out, if you slide over into the hip, you want to keep those hips square. Turn the thumb up and then push like you're pushing through water. Bring that bicep by the ear. Turn the thumb down and then sweep the arm back like you're pushing something away from you. All the way back forward and back. It's a lot harder than it looks. All the way forward and back. Don't cheat yourself. This time we're coming halfway. Thumb is down, or thumb is towards the front, palm is down, and then start to sweep that arm open. So on this first one, if you only open halfway and then you start to feel the tension, that's perfect. If you have all kinds of range of motion, you might come all the way up. But again, you see that I had to kind of twist to get into that. So that's not my range of motion today. Let's go ahead and scoop this arm underneath, reach for the back wall, come in for that landing. And again, you want to keep pulling that left arm as far to the right as you can, keeping the hips square, and then maybe walking that right arm out overhead. This is super juicy through the back. Feels really good. Just allowing yourself to have the space in the pose to let the mind fill with what it needs to or empty with what it doesn't need. Trying not to get swept up in all of that. Just let it happen.
Taking 2 more very large, deep in breaths and equally large out breaths. And then walk the fingers back. Right hand comes underneath the shoulder. Press into the mat as you sweep the left arm up and open. And notice that, oh, now we've got a little bit more range of motion. And then both hands come down to the mat. And we're coming all the way onto our belly. So just walk your hands forward and come all the way down. Ooh-wee. All right, so we stretch the shoulders towards, so an adduction. Now we're going to stretch them away. So right hand out from the shoulder, perpendicular, so making that letter T with your body and the arm. Left arm underneath the elbow, and then start to peel yourself open. So again, this range of motion isn't for everyone. This is kind of intense. So if you need to bend your knees and place your head either on your and then just keep pushing into the arm, into the shoulder. Then go ahead and straighten the legs down. Turn all the way onto the belly. Come onto the belly, sweep the arms out in front of you, both of them out in front of you. You can leave your feet on the mat. Thumbs reach up, reach out, and then turn the thumbs away and take that little swim. Interlace the fingers behind you and lift through those shoulders. So you should have some really nice range of motion here. Beautiful. And then go ahead and release, and then reach out towards the left. Place the left hand down. Try not to turn off the microphone this time. And then turning over, finding that same stretch on the left arm, using the right hand to help you. Knees are bent. Maybe the top foot comes in front if you need a little bit of extra. Otherwise, you can keep the knees bent. And just bring the head down onto the mat. So when we do these yin shapes, these very long, deep stretches, the whole point is to wait out the muscles. So you're trying to get deep into the joint capsules. And when we do that, we reinvigorate the synovial fluid that flows in there, we kind of flush out the gunk that collects in there. Getting more blood supply to the tendons and ligaments. Beautiful. Go ahead and release. Come all the way back onto your belly again. Let's do that little swim one more time. So you're on your belly, your feet can be down. Reach your arms out in front of you, thumbs out. Try to relax your shoulders away from your ears. I know that's not easy. Turn the thumbs down and then sweep the hands behind you. Interlace the fingers and lift, pulling those shoulder blades together, elbows back. You can bring them straight or keep them bent if that works for you. And then peel those shoulders open. Perfect. And then go ahead and release. And then we're coming into my favorite Sphinx pose, bringing those elbows underneath the shoulders. So make sure that they're right underneath. snuggled in next to the heart space. The feet are on the mat, the elbows and hands are down. And then I want you to draw your elbows towards your feet so that you can lift your heart up. It's a deep back bend. Feels kind of good. And then keep lifting the heart. If it doesn't feel good to you to lift through the chin, you can certainly tuck the chin down and let the head be heavy here. Taking about 3 rounds of breath, inhaling nice and long. And then go ahead and exhale. Try to settle into the pose, but hold that shape. Inhale. And exhale. Back bends can be a bit challenging. Beautiful. And then from here, just go ahead and lower yourself down. So slide those elbows out from underneath you. Stack your hands, put your forehead on your hands, and let your spine settle back into its natural curves. So if it's not comfortable for you to sit like this, you can turn your head towards one side or the other. You can always prop yourself up with a pillow if it's difficult to breathe. We're not here for a long time, just enough to kind of counter that back bend. Beautiful. Continuing our travels on our front body stretch here, let's walk our right forearm underneath our face, bend into the left knee, and then reach back with your left hand and grab on anywhere you can. So this might be a little bit much. If you need to, once you grab onto that ankle, you can slide that forearm out and just let your head rest on your hand. Or if you like, you can continue that back bend with that quad stretch. So you're bringing your heel right in towards your seat. I think I point my toes here. You could also flex your toes, whichever one works for you. And again, you take as much of a back bend as you need here. We're really aiming to get through the quad stretch and get into that knee capsule. If your knees don't like this shape, you can always, just grab onto your pant leg or just bend that knee back without grabbing on. If you have the room, keep pulling that heel towards the hip. It got really quiet, which means he found something to get into. Nice. Go ahead and release. And we're going right to the other side. So using the left forearm to prop you up first, bend into that right knee, and then reach back. If you grab onto the outside, it's a little bit more forgiving, but we did do some opening of the shoulders, so grabbing onto the inside of the foot might be accessible for you here, or even the top of the foot. And again, if you need to slide down, let that forearm slide down the mat, you can do that. Don't forget to breathe here. When we come up on these challenging poses, usually the breath becomes very short and choppy. That's a lesson to you. It's an indication that you should back out a little bit. Sometimes I notice that my breath is choppy, and it's just because I'm trying to keep my body from experiencing a sensation. So I know that this knee hurts, so I'll kind of tense up. But if I relax into it, then I find that it doesn't actually hurt. So pay attention to your breath. See if you can relax your shoulders. And go ahead and release that foot without becoming a slingshot. And we're going to actually find our way up. So if you want to roll over to the side, I don't know why I just did that push up there. However you want to get out and out of this shape and come to your seat with your legs out in front of you. We're going to, all of that back bending, we definitely need a forward fold here. So taking a, not a wide-legged forward fold, but a kind of medium. So your feet aren't together, but they're just a little bit wider than hip width. It gives you a little bit of extra room. So if you're really tender through the back, you could sit up on a blanket or a block here. Bring your toes back towards your feet, and using your hands, I want you to keep that nice flat back so the spine is lifted, and then start to hinge. So you'll probably only get a little bit of a hinge here, and you'll notice right away, I feel that. So just pause there. We're going to take this in a few sections. So you're about a quarter of the way towards your feet. Your fingers might rest on your knees or your thighs here. They might be next to your legs. Now take one more inhale, and then as you exhale, see if you can start to lean a little bit deeper into it. So I want you to really root your sit bones down and think of that flat back, pulling your ribs up and towards your shoulders. And then exhale, maybe getting a little bit deeper. Maybe now your hands are at your shins or your ankles. Or maybe you're only moving in your mind. That's okay too. We have one more. Inhale, find that length in the spine. Think of it as separating out the vertebrae, creating room for those discs. And then every time you do that, you have a little bit more wiggle room to melt into this shape. So now that you've found your flat back fold, go ahead and allow your chin to tuck, your hands rest underneath you, and just melt down between the legs here. So release the tension you had in the back. Let your head be heavy. We have about 5 more breaths in this shape. Notice the length in the back of the neck. Perhaps you're feeling the tug of the ropes of muscles going down each side of the spine, the erector spinae muscles. It's the posture muscles. Beginning to walk your hands back next to your thighs. Go ahead and use your hands to push into the mat and lift you up one vertebrae at a time. Head comes up last. Nice. Moving super slow. When we hold these poses, sometimes it takes a minute. And then just finding your way to an easy cross-legged seat. So maybe Baddha Konasana, maybe the soles of the feet together. Maybe that's not really, I'll turn so you can see, maybe that's not really calling to you today. You'd much prefer just an easy crisscross applesauce, which is perfect. Nice, beautiful. And then from that easy shape, we're just going to take a few seated cat-cows, all of that back bending here. So press the hands into the knees, round through the back, push the shoulder blades away from each other, and then inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Inhale to lift. Last one, exhale to round. Inhale to lift. One last really big forward fold, perhaps doing the opposite orientation of your feet than you normally do. So for me, usually left on top of right is opposite for me. Hands by your side, lift up through your shoulders, and then start to walk your shoulders past your knees. Maybe so much so that you can snuggle your elbows down into the shins here. So you're creating kind of a cross between that caterpillar pose that we just did and a child's pose. So you're kind of rounding over your body, but it's a nice rounded forward flexion. So you're getting into the legs, you're getting into the back. Perhaps you're feeling the quads here, or your thighs. Slowly bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, walking yourself back up, bringing the fingers behind you, pointing forward. And just take a little back bend here. Open the heart, look up, push into the palms, open up those shoulders, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Perfect. Let's go take a nice deep twist. We've been working everything we've done today has been to get to this twist. So bringing yourself all the way down. Bring your knees with you. Find your little rock and roll side to side. If you have a favorite twist and you prefer to do that, you go right ahead and do that. I'm going to do a twisted root. It's my favorite yin twist. So you cross your right leg over your left and if you can, hook the toes underneath your calves. Some days I can't do that either, so don't worry if you can't. So whichever grip you get, and then place that left foot on the mat. Bring your fingertips behind your head. You can interlace them or not. I just like to place them there. Open the elbows out wide. So now from here, I want you to think about pushing your tailbone down towards the mat you're going to have a little bit of like a curve in your lower back, and that's okay. You just don't want it to be puffing the ribs out. Then from here, you're going to take this twist over towards the left. So your right leg goes over to the opposite side, and you're anchored down by your feet and the twist. The shoulders are anchored to the mat. So this is a very deep back bend. Variations of this would be to unhook the knees and just stack them on top of each other. You could certainly do that. You could unhook the hands. And then just close your eyes and be in this shape. So you'll notice that maybe you're squeezing your right butt cheek to try to save yourself from sensation. Go ahead and relax that. Maybe your breath is super choppy to indicate that you're working into the shape. See if you can work into an even breath here. This is a full body twist. A lot has to happen to make this twist work. Go ahead and use your arms if you need to. Start to walk that right leg back. Unhook the right leg. Use your feet to help you realign your spine here, and just windshield wiper from left to right, left to right. And then we're going to take it to the other side. So right foot down, left foot crosses. And again, if maybe one side isn't, you can't hook one side, there's nothing wrong with that. And then scoop the left leg over towards the right. And again, if this is too much, you can just stack your knees. You can even bring your left foot to the mat. The left leg reaches towards the right side and the right foot comes on top of the left knee. That's a variation of that. These yin poses are traditionally held anywhere from 2 minutes to 20 minutes. It's less important to be in a shape based on what you think it should look like than it is to find a shape based on how it feels for your body. You'll know if something feels very wrong for you, just like you'll know if something feels very right for you. Go ahead and use your hands to help you unwind, unravel. Come back to that windshield wiper to stretch it out. A little to the left, a little to the right. And then go ahead and find your way to your version of your Shavasana. Legs down the mat, feet out to the side. Let yourself melt into the shape. Beginning to bring movement to fingers and toes. Slowly starting to find your way towards your side, right side or left, it's up to you. Using your hands to help you coming back towards a seated shape, whatever shape feels good for you, whatever shape calls to you. Close your eyes. Let your breath just come and go as it is. No need to control that breath. Taking the next several moments to scan your body
looking for sensation, looking for any areas that need attention, looking for any areas that perhaps feel open and energized. As you complete your scan, noticing that whatever is absolutely what it is. There's no need to necessarily change. There's no need to try and will something to be something that it is not. Remember that however your body shows up for you each day, it's showing up regardless. However you show up for your body is dependent on your mindset. So you can show up and nourish and do all of the things that you do, getting on your mat, eating good meals, taking care of yourself, and your body will show up for you. Bringing your hands to heart center, maybe bowing your head if you like. Thank you for joining me on the mat for this drizzly Wednesday morning. Have a fabulous rest of your day, ladies. Namaste.